You know what I mean?
Okay, find that link for me.
Let me find the link of our live today. So I'm doing reaction of head to hair.
This thing is yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm doing live reaction of heads to heads with Mehdi Hasan and Vanessa Neumann. Okay, guys, so that's what I'm doing, head to head. And today, for me, I think this bro, like this video is amazing because she really looks like a liar, man. It's like Mehdi really embarrassed her like so much. I'm telling you. So I think I'm gonna start going live every, I don't know, like every other day. First of all, like every other day, even every day. Sometimes we can do that, but every other day. Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, maybe Sunday, who knows. But for now, I'll start going live so often. So I wanna send, and I want people to pull up, man. Like, hey, come live. And if you have any question from what we're gonna be watching, please ask question, and I'm gonna answer, of course. But we're gonna have fun. You know, this is maybe 1 hour and a half video or 2 hours, who knows. But for now, what I know is I'm ready. Seriously, I'm really ready. Oh, guys, you see, we're there. We're almost there. No, we already live, by the way. We already live. So chat, we live on YouTube. Donaldo just dropped a new phone, man. Oh, Donaldo. Oh, that's the old phone. I thought, you know, is the new brand. What's the name of your phone? What's the name? Samsung what?
26 Ultra.
26 Ultra, new one with 1 TB. Man, you see me as I'm still using iPhone 13, man. But listen, guys, for me, I'm ready. I don't know. Let's wait for more people to come in. I think I'm gonna need hot water, Patricia, please. And let me see if we can share. Let's share this live on all other social media platform. I'm gonna start with WhatsApp. So let me see. Head to head video reaction. I think that's how I'm gonna call it. You know, that's the I think I left your keys over there. Head to head video head to head Mehdi Hasan versus versus Vanessa. Vanessa Neumann. Video reaction with real man. With real man. With real man. Yeah. Video. Pull up, man. Listen, guys, this is gonna be fun. I'm telling you guys. You know, I'm just waiting for few people to come in, then we gonna start. We already 6 minutes in, and please, let's go. I think most of you guys knows, you know, about head to head. So it's Al Jazeera show or segment that is hosted by Mehdi Hasan. Okay, guys, this is like maybe what I'm gonna do, like every, because there's so many videos that I've seen with different leaders of the world, you know. But why don't you bring people from America, man? I think like you only go to the people from all these small nations, you know. No, of course, no small nations. Sorry to say that, but because I remember there was somebody from China, which is not a small nation, you know. But I haven't really seen people from like Europe. No, I'm gonna change that, you know, because it doesn't mean that if you leaders are from Europe, that means they are big nations. No, but at the same time, you guys understand what I'm trying to talk about, you know. Let me see where we are. Head to head, Mehdi Hasan versus Vanessa Neumann. Video reaction with real man. I think that sounds good. Right, guys? By the way, me, I'm ready. I can't lie to you. Me, I'm really ready with this live reaction. I think I should put live reaction.
Yeah, in my case.
Your keys, they're over there.
No.
So where did I put your keys? I remember I had them somewhere here or downstairs.
Bro.
Seriously, I had them. Maybe in the car, but no, because I locked the car. Guys, so give me a minute here, you know. If not here, then just look downstairs, bro. I should have them in my pocket, but I don't.
Bro, there's no downstairs.
Do you have another one? Guys, next time we're gonna do better. Okay, guys, next time we're gonna do better. I promise. You know, we're gonna do better because Donaldo is.
You don't need to be famous live.
It's live. And I want people to really comment and because I'm trying to figure out what time is the best time for me to be live. You know, and what days. Excuse me. And what days are the best, time to be live? So, Donaldo, did you find it? Okay. And you left the door open. Babe, I can hear you, my love. Especially your Kiswahili. Jomana wambie wale watu. Hey, what's up? What's up, Manembo? That's my baby, my baby boy, the prince. So guys, I'm going to be live right now. Of course, I'm live already, but I'm gonna start very soon. How many people we have so far? Okay. Yes, guys, we almost there. Boom, boom, boom. So this video reaction of today, man, it's so intense. And here we are talking about Trump takes Venezuela. So that means Mehdi and Vanessa, they are talking about the oil power regime change, everything that happens in Venezuela with America taking over. Like there was a place where they ask Trump, President Trump, like who is now governing, Venezuela, and then he was like, us. The balls, man. God bless America, bro. I'm telling you. God bless America. Yeah, God bless America. I say, yep, God bless America. So guys, I want to see if there is a way I can edit thumbnail live. So I want to do it live so that you guys can see that, sometimes we do everything. It's not like we have somebody out there who can just, do a thumbnail for us. No. We gotta do it. We gotta do everything ourselves. We have to do everything ourselves. So which is tough. It's not easy, guys. I'm telling you. It's not easy. Do what we do. It's not easy, man. So let me see what I can do here. Boom. I'm not gonna call it episode. Take out background. Guys, I have my daughter. She's a princess, but she loves to play, man. So right now, that's all she's doing, just playing around. So you guys gonna understand her, because you're gonna hear her jumping. Okay. So let me see. Aliyah, really? Oh my God. That's not good, Mama. Yep, I like this one. Guys, we are both learning this together, okay? So be patient with me. Next time I'll get better. Yeah, I'll really get better and make sure I got everything locked in. But for now, you know, a man gotta do what he gotta do. We have 3 minutes before I play. So 3 more minutes, we start the video. Okay, guys? 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes and we play the video. Let me see. Yes. You know what?
On January the 3rd, the US bombed Venezuela and abducted President Nicolas over Venezuela. Who's in charge?
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
That means we're in charge.
This marks a dramatic reversal for a country that has long defined itself as a bulwark against US influence in the region.
Imperio Yankee, go home.
After Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez's death in 2013, Nicolas Maduro was elected to succeed him. Amid pressure from sanctions, hyperinflation soared and food and medicine became scarce. Since then, nearly 8 million people have fled the country. In 2019, amid growing disputes over the fairness of Venezuela's elections, the US and its allies recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to the interim presidency, sparking a years-long fight over who truly held legitimacy. Those questions remain after disputed presidential elections in 2024. My guest tonight was at the forefront of the power struggle under Juan Guaido and served as the ambassador to the UK for the Venezuelan opposition from 2019 until 2020. I'm Mehdi Hasan, and tonight I'll go head-to-head with Vanessa Neumann. I'll challenge her on why she supports Donald Trump's intervention. On January the 3rd,
Yes, we almost.
Venezuela.
I want people to pull up, man. Let's do this together.
They're now in US custody facing
very serious
charges. As a major
I
question
believe
hangs over
that
Venezuela. Who's in charge?
it needs
Don't
all
ask
our
me
attention.
who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
That means we're in charge.
This marks a dramatic reversal for a country that has long defined itself as a bulwark against US influence in the region.
I'm trying
Imperio
to see.
Yankee, go home.
After Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez's death in 2013, Nicolas Maduro was elected to succeed him. Amid pressure from sanctions, hyperinflation soared and food and medicine became scarce. Since then, nearly 8 million people have fled the country. In 2019, amid growing disputes over the fairness of Venezuela's elections, the US and its allies recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to the interim presidency, sparking a years-long fight over who
I got the thumbnail, guys.
Those
Finally.
remain after disputed presidential elections in 2024. My guest tonight was
thought
at the
that I
forefront of the power
said-
struggle under Juan Guaido and served as the ambassador to the
Oh,
UK
yeah.
for the Venezuelan opposition
I
from
got the
2019 until 2020.
We
I'm
good
Mehdi
with the
Hasan, and
thumbnail,
tonight I'll go
guys.
head-to-head with Vanessa
Woo,
Neumann.
let's go.
I'll challenge her on why she supports Donald Trump's intervention in Venezuela and how she justifies it legally. And I'll ask her, will Venezuela's future be decided by Venezuelans or by the US?
Boom.
Tonight, I'll also be joined by three experts. Alejandro Velasco is an associate professor of Latin American history at New York University. Estefania Melendez is Juan Guaido's former diplomatic envoy to Bulgaria. And Oscar Guardiola Rivera is an international law
yes.
professor at Birkbeck College, University of London.
Now we go. Guys, please.
On January the 3rd, the US bombed Venezuela and abducted President
I
Nicolas
need-
Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. They're now in US
Yeah.
custody facing, quote, narco-terrorism charges. As a major question hangs over Venezuela, who's in charge?
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means
We good,
in
we
charge.
good, we good, we good now.
This marks a dramatic reversal for a country that has long defined itself as a bulwark against US influence in the region.
Imperio Yankee, go home.
After Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez's death in 2013, Nicolas Maduro was elected to succeed him. Amid pressure from sanctions, hyperinflation soared and food and medicine became scarce. Since then, nearly 8 million people have fled the country. In 2019, amid growing disputes over the fairness of Venezuela's elections, the US and its allies recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to the interim presidency, sparking a years-long fight over who truly held legitimacy. Those questions remain after disputed presidential elections in 2024. My guest tonight was at the forefront of the power struggle under Juan Guaido and served as the ambassador to the UK for the Venezuelan opposition from 2019 until 2020. I'm Mehdi Hasan, and tonight I'll go head-to-head with Vanessa Neumann. I'll challenge her on why she supports Donald Trump's intervention in Venezuela and how she justifies it legally. And I'll ask her, will Venezuela's future be decided by Venezuelans or by the US? Tonight, I'll also be joined by three experts.
Okay, guys, now I'm ready. Okay, I've done everything that I wanted to do, so now I'm 100% ready. So all I want to do right now is just share the link on YouTube. That's the only thing that I'm doing right now, guys. Okay, then we go live. Boom, the link is right here. The link is right here. Boom. So guys, as you can see, I just posted on my Facebook. So what I want to do is post the same thing on my Instagram. Okay, post the same thing on Instagram. Post. We are at the studio live right now, guys. I'm at the studio live. Okay, so here we go. Yes, home studio. It's amazing. I love it so far.
We are the studio live right now, guys. Studio live right now, guys. I'm at the studio live. Okay, live. So here we go. So here we go. Yes, home studio. Yes, home studio. It's amazing. I love it. It's amazing. I love it so far. We are the studio live right now, guys. Studio live right now, guys. I'm at the studio live. Okay. So here we go. Yes, home studio. It's amazing. I love it so far. We are the studio live right now, guys.
I want people to really understand what I'm doing. That, you know, I think what I'm doing right now is something that yeah, because I can see people are coming in and go, but hey, I'm learning something. So next time when I do something like this, I'll make sure I have the thumbnail ready and everything ready to go. Okay, guys? But come on, let's have fun. You know, this is really fun. Okay. So guys, I'm ready. Again, I apologize for this. I'm telling you for real, I really apologize for this. Next time, I will do better. Okay? So next time, I'll do better. I'll make sure I come prepared. Okay, guys? Yes. That's the word that I will use, because you deserve better. So which means next time I'll make sure I come in prepared, like very prepared. Okay. But all in all, I guess right now we're ready. Okay. So let's go.
On January the 3rd, the US bombed Venezuela and abducted President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. They're now in US custody facing, quote, narco-terrorism charges, as a major question hangs over Venezuela. Who's in charge?
Don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
That means we're in charge.
This marks a dramatic reversal for a country that has long defined itself as a bulwark against US influence in the region.
Imperio Yankee, go home.
After Venezuelan President Hugo Chávez's death in 2013, Nicolas Maduro was elected to succeed him. Amid pressure from sanctions, hyperinflation soared and food and medicine became scarce. Since then, nearly 8 million people have fled the country. In 2019, amid growing disputes over the fairness of Venezuela's elections, the US and its allies recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to the interim presidency, sparking a years-long fight over who truly held legitimacy. Those questions remain after disputed presidential elections in 2024. My guest tonight was at the forefront of the power struggle under Juan Guaido and served as the ambassador to the UK for the Venezuelan opposition from 2019 until 2020. I'm Mehdi Hasan, and tonight I'll go head-to-head with Vanessa Neumann. I'll challenge her on why she supports Donald Trump's intervention in Venezuela and how she justifies it legally. And I'll ask her, will Venezuela's future be decided by Venezuelans or by the US?
I like that. The question is, will the future of Venezuela be decided by Venezuelans or another country? You know what I mean? So, as a sovereign country, I think that's a good question. And both of us would like to hear what she will say about that, about the question, especially since she's, you know, a Venezuelan. So let's go.
Tonight, I'll also be joined by three experts. Alejandro Velasco is an associate professor of Latin American history at New York University. Estefania Melendez is Juan Guaido's former diplomatic envoy to Bulgaria. And Oscar Guardiola Rivera is an international law professor at Birkbeck College, University of London.
I just love this show, man. You know, everything about this show is so raw and real. I love it. Before we start, hey yo, what's up my people? What's good? Welcome once again to Real Mania Show. I'm your host, Real Man TMP. And this segment is called Video Reaction with Live with Real Man TMP. Okay? Video Reaction Live with Real Man TMP. I'm gonna have so many video reaction that I'm gonna start doing, and live reaction, you get it real and raw. Okay, we keep it real. As you know, I keep it real. So let's go straight to the video. Okay, peace and love. Real man. Peace.
Vanessa Neumann, thank you so much for joining me on Head to Head tonight here at London's Conway Hall. You praised what Donald Trump did to Nicolas Maduro on January the 3rd, but Trump left his vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, in charge as interim president. The CIA is working happily with her. Trump says she's a terrific person. There's been no change in the Venezuelan system of government whatsoever. The people at the top are still there. So there was no return to democracy on January the 3rd, was there?
No, I think that we do not yet have a transition to democracy. I think that what we see, what happened to Maduro is, I do support his removal because, as I have argued since my 2004 doctoral dissertation, the tolerance of dictators around the world and people treating them like they have immunity and should maintain power and control over the borders, no matter how much they oppress their people, is the proximate cause of dictatorship. And therefore, he did not have immunity. He was asked to leave with the regime change as it should have happened, which was elections, which he then denied. And while the world allows people to be elected and then cling to that presidential palace by hook or by crook is not cricket, as the Brits would say.
But his people are still in charge. And you jumped the gun on January the 3rd. You went on the BBC and you said this is a restoration of democracy. You were wrong.
Well, I'm hoping that it will eventually be a restoration of democracy.
But it wasn't on January the 3rd.
No.
Why are you hoping? You know, like, America is a nation that... When you talk about democracy, means that, hey, we already plan and create a system that once we remove this person, and this is the next step that you guys will take to the democracy, okay? But that didn't happen, and it hasn't happened. Nobody knows when they will do elections, and when the election will take place, and who will be the next president? Who are the candidates? Nobody knows. So, let's keep going.
It was not.
Can you admit then, since we're admitting things, that you and your friend Maria Corina Machado, Nobel Peace Laureate, Venezuelan opposition leader, that you and her and the Venezuelan opposition got played by Donald Trump? You have the Nobel Peace Laureate who is attacked by Donald Trump because she won a Nobel Prize that he so desperately wanted. She goes to DC and she gives him her Nobel Peace Prize to try to suck up to the world's most powerful man. That's a little embarrassing for the opposition, is it not?
Look, the opposition, and I see a few friends of mine, the opposition to the dictatorship, such as we are, have been at this for a very long time. We who fight, who want democracy and prosperity restored in our country, support that end. I do not speak for Maria Corina Machado. I am not her spokesperson. I'm not a member of her political
party. You're a friend of hers, though, right?
I know her, yes, of course. And in fact, I'll go beyond that. Our families were intertwined, like generations
So
back.
when you hear a Trump White House advisor tell Politico recently about Machado, she's selfish, she's a spoiler, she's working against US national security goals. They're not fans of your friend.
Sounds like they're not, no.
Trump said that they don't respect her in
Venezuela. That's America.
It's not great.
Well...
You know that game of kids, Psych? That's America. Trust me. One thing that I've learned about America, politics, because of course I love America, but I'm talking about the government of America or the politicians of America. Mostly, not the government, the politicians of America. They are the master of psych. They know how to do psych. They're like, you see this? It's here, right? You see? Then you're like, it's psych. Let's keep going.
I think that's overstepping the bounds. I'm not here to speak for Donald Trump.
You're a supporter of Donald Trump. You've praised Donald Trump. He's not a fan of Maria Corina Machado.
I have praised.
She already got that. And I'm telling you guys, how you have to make sure you finish. This is just the beginning. We are only 5 minutes in, and it's already bomb over bombs.
His removal of a brutal dictator, narco trafficker, dictator, which is, in my book and various other publications. I'm well on record on this. So I'm very happy that he was removed. Now let me temper that.
Just
the
to be
reality
clear,
is,
just to be clear,
we still have repression in Venezuela. They're still capturing
indeed,
and torturing people.
And just to be clear on Trump, I just want to be, just for the record,
yeah.
You did say we Venezuelans love Donald Trump.
Did I?
You did.
When?
In 2018. During the first term.
Really?
Let's talk about the removal of Maduro. The US military operation that removed him, abducted him, many would argue kidnapped him, was a violation of international law. Blatant. No. It violated both the UN Charter, the Organization of American States Charter. No. You cannot invade a foreign sovereign nation, kidnap the head of state, kill civilians in the process, and then claim to be upholding the rule of law. You say it's legal.
Yes, of course I say it's legal. Of course I say it's legal, going back to the fact that I've dedicated a lot of my life to writing particularly about autonomy. The title of my dissertation, Autonomy and Legitimacy of States, a Critical Approach to Foreign Intervention. The concept of non-intervention is neither a neutral theory nor is it amoral. It is not a neutral theory because you have the duty for reasonable people to consider what are the consequences of non-intervention. The consequences of non-intervention in my country are 8 million people who have fled in exile, violent
With respect, that's a political argument. That's a moral argument.
It's a moral argument.
It's not a legal argument. It's illegal to do. There might be things you like to do, but they're illegal.
Want to guide international law. It's also not. It's not amoral. If you assert non-intervention at all costs, you're basically saying that there are no moral standards that transcend international
we know there's international law on when you can intervene, when there's a genocide, for example, although the world didn't stop the genocide going on in Gaza. But in Venezuela, you can't just have the American government turn up one day and say, we're going to take the leader of that country out and put him on trial in Manhattan.
Why not?
Based on what?
You've done it.
What? She just said, why not? This is crazy, man. This is why sometimes I don't like opposites. The opposition always it's more than the people. They make it so personal. It's not about the justice. It's about us one day winning the seat. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Most of these countries with their positions, it's all about we want to be part, we want to take a piece of the pie. So we don't care what we'll say as long as we are part of the seat, the table. But they always feel like left out. And that's what she's talking about right now.
Vanessa, which international law allows that?
You've done that in other cases.
Oh, so if you do illegal things previously, you can do more illegal
things. They're not illegal. He's not a president. He's not a president.
Well, Donald Trump referred to him as President Maduro on the day he took him out.
Well, I would never have used that phrase, and I don't know.
What do you mean? Who are you? We're talking about presidents of America, the most powerful country in the world. And when he took the president of Venezuela, himself, he said, we just captured the president of Venezuela. And she's saying that she don't recognize him as a president.
The President of the United States who did the operation. So I'm pointing out
That's
to you.
right.
But here's what you did say. This is the problem, Vanessa.
I don't speak for Trump. I speak for my country's democracy.
Let's speak about what you've said then. You've claimed Maduro had an international capture order.
Yes.
You've said he was indicted by the International Criminal Court at The Hague.
Yes.
You said he had an Interpol notice out for him.
Yes.
None of that is true. You've literally invented all of those things.
What?
Which of those things are true?
Which, Interpol, well, he's wanted.
He's not wanted by Interpol. There's no notice from Interpol out for Maduro. We checked.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, but he's wanted.
And he was not.
The typical Western women, no accountability for anything. She's like, what? And even this guy, the way he's handling her is like, oh. But if it was a man who lied like that, I know we're gonna watch more video from him. You will see how the way sometimes he go hard on men. You know, ministers or ambassadors, whatever. He goes hard. Oh, you say this, so that means you lied. He will push and push, poke and poke. But that's a big lie. Let's go back and see her reaction.
Never have used that phrase, and I don't.
But you're not the President of the United States who did the operation, so I'm pointing out
That's
to you.
right.
But here's
But
what
I
you
don't
did say.
speak for
This is
I
the
don't
problem,
speak
Vanessa.
for Trump. I speak for my country's democracy.
Let's speak about what you've said then. You've claimed Maduro had an international capture order.
Yes.
You've said he was indicted by the International Criminal Court at The Hague. You
Yes.
said he had an Interpol notice out for him.
Yes.
None of that is true. You've literally invented all of those things.
Look the face.
Which of those things are true?
What? Interpol? Well, he's wanted.
He's not wanted by Interpol. There's no notice from Interpol out for Maduro. We checked.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, but he's wanted.
And he was not
for the
indicted
DEA.
by the International Criminal
He's not
Court.
indicted. He's
Netanyahu
under-
was, Putin was, not
He-
Maduro.
He is under investigation.
So are multiple governments who are investigated by the
And
ICC. Doesn't mean you can grab them from their beds.
Grab them from their bed. Oh, I love the image of that.
Could you grab? Could you? Many people.
She chuckled. Can you believe that?
People would love the image of grabbing Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you support that?
I'm not here to speak about Netanyahu.
No, you are, because you're making a point about international law, and I'm saying for you to be consistent, do you support other countries doing that to other leaders who actually are indicted, unlike Maduro? Netanyahu has an arrest warrant out for him.
Right. Well, I think if they're dictators who are murdering and oppressing and torturing their own people, and we're not.
Is this only about the international? So the question is the international laws only about dictators or every head of state, elected or non-elected? Who that? Let me say, if there's a head of states who have been elected and commits murder or genocide, will the international laws not applicable to the president because was legally elected? Or if the same president was a dictator, that's when. So that's the question. Please answer me.
Not elected and stand in defiance of elections, I think, yes, fair game. Round up the dictators.
Only the dictators, not people who have arrest warrants from the ICC like Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, I don't know.
Why
not
do you
here
become
to
so
know.
shy when we talk about Netanyahu?
No, I don't know.
You're very confident. Round up the dictators. I say, here's a guy with an arrest warrant. Why not get him?
Well,
you said Maduro was indicted by the ICC. He was not. Netanyahu
he's
was.
under investigation, and he's also by the Human Rights Council.
So hold on. Anyone
Human
investigated by the
Rights Council
ICC can just be picked up, according to you. This is your law of the jungle.
No, that's not my law of the jungle. I'll go back
And
to
why
what
did
I
you
said.
say he was indicted when he wasn't? That's not true. Can we at least agree on that?
Oh, I don't know. I misspoke, I suppose. I don't know.
So you misspoke when you said there was an international capture order. You misspoke when you said he was indicted.
Accountability, man.
From who?
Our lovely women with especially Western women with accountability, misspoken, and that's it. No sorry, no, I was wrong, but just misspoken. Hey.
From the United States and supported by other countries.
That's not an international capture. Any
Well,
country
many
can
other
indict anyone.
countries. Many other countries also supported
That's
it.
not how international law
allies.
works.
It's not my area of specialty. I'm not going to.
You are
that.
a proud Venezuelan.
Yes.
You say this intervention was long overdue.
Yes.
Trump's military operation killed Venezuelan civilians, as you know.
Cuban civilians.
An 80-year-old Venezuelan woman, Rosa Gonzalez, was among the dead. Airstrike hit her apartment. Other U.S. airstrikes outside of Venezuela have killed Venezuelans on boats, including fishermen,
Drug
including
traffickers.
innocent.
I don't feel sorry for them.
While in office, Donald Trump has deported hundreds of innocent Venezuelans living in the US, not just to Maduro's
I disagree
Venezuela,
with that.
not just to Maduro's Venezuela, but to a gulag in El Salvador where they were tortured.
I disagree with that policy.
Donald Trump is not a man who gives a damn about Venezuelans.
I don't agree with all of anyone's policies.
But you would agree he doesn't care about Venezuelans.
I am concerned about the fair treatment of my fellow citizens. I do think that many of the deportations are, not all of them are fully justified. I was privately and expressed it to other friends in the opposition, concerned about the shifting tone of anti-Venezuelan rhetoric. Because one thing is to be concerned about a brutal, repressive dictator who promotes drug trafficking and promotes adversaries of the United States, which obviously Trump is concerned with United States interests. That's his job. Whether you agree with it or not, that's his job. If, you know, and then translate that into anti-Venezuelan sentiment.
You mentioned drug trafficking.
Yes.
When it comes to Venezuela and the Chavistas, your critics have accused you and people in the opposition of just making stuff up.
Well,
You've claimed.
I researched that.
Well, let me give you
on the ground for many years.
You wrote a book called Blood Profits.
Yes, I did.
We read it. You've claimed with.
Okay.
You claim in the book.
Impressed.
You claim with very little evidence, some might say zero evidence, that thousands of Al Qaeda members are running rampant around Venezuela, enjoying the full benefits of Venezuelan citizenship, thanks to Chavez.
Another
and Maduro.
shocking moment.
Cartel de la Soledad.
Guys, another choking moment. She gonna choke. Wait and see.
Was behind the Maduro regime, but it isn't even a real cartel. It doesn't exist.
Let's go back
Isn't
to the
problem for
question.
the opposition that you could make a thousand. You wrote a book called Blood Profits.
Yes, I did.
We read it. You've claimed with.
Okay.
You claim in the book. You claim with very little evidence, some might say zero evidence, that thousands of Al Qaeda members are running rampant around Venezuela, enjoying the full benefits of Venezuelan citizenship, thanks to Chavez and Maduro. You've claimed that the Cartel de la Solis was behind the Maduro regime, but it isn't even a real cartel. It doesn't exist. Isn't the problem for the opposition that you could make a case against Maduro, but you'd have to make stuff up in order to do that?
Well, none of it is made up. I mean, I had intelligence.
There are thousands of people from Al Qaeda living as citizens in Venezuela. No one believes that.
Well, there was a lot of not even forged passports, but real passports given out to known terrorists that entered Venezuela, and I had that intelligence firsthand. I had been working on that intelligence since.
There's no evidence of that. I mean, the U.S. government of Bush and Cheney. You think Bush and Cheney saw thousands of Al Qaeda members of Venezuela and just let them stay there? The U.S. government says they saw no evidence of this.
I was in Caracas and provided the evidence by fellow Venezuelans.
Why didn't you publish the evidence? Why haven't you shared it with the U.S. government?
Oh, I have. Why? I didn't say I didn't share it with the U.S. government.
The U.S. government says it's not true. We checked. The State Department terrorism reports every year said there is these claims. There's no evidence of them.
The DEA, SOD, Special Operations Division, are the ones who ran, including El Pollo Carvajal as an asset of theirs for many years. And I know the people who were directly involved in that investigation. And it started quite early on in the early 2000s.
No serious terrorism expert think there are thousands of Al Qaeda members in Venezuela. State Department country reports in 05, we checked, 05, 06, 07, 09, 10, 11, 2012, 2013, 2014, all concluded there were no known operational cells of Al Qaeda in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, well, there's lots of Hezbollah.
Oh! Another choking moment.
What's the point?
In the Western 2012, 2013, 2014, all concluded there were no known operational cells of Al Qaeda in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, well, there's lots of Hezbollah. What's the point? So you think that because there weren't enough Al Qaeda for you?
You're making my point for me. You said, well, there was Hezbollah. Well, which one? You said Al Qaeda and Hezbollah in the book.
There's both.
Well, okay, let's talk about.
Hezbollah.
I think it's clear that you're not standing by your own claim.
Particularly Hezbollah.
Let's talk about the Cartel de la Solis.
So if there aren't enough Al Qaeda terrorists running around, Maduro's a good dude?
No, the exact
Is that
opposite.
what you're
The
saying?
problem is Maduro's a bad dude, and you can make the case against Maduro without making stuff up.
Oh, we
it doesn't
did
help
make
your
the
credibility to make claims without evidence. For example, the Cartel de la Solis. This was pushed for a long time.
Not only credibility, but there's no accountability. That's what I'm talking about, man. Life, it's all about accountability. Okay, guys? That's what I'm trying to say. But she doesn't have any. She doesn't even care about all the lies that she made up for the case, which even Mehdi said, the guy is a bad guy. And you don't even have to make up stuff. You know what I mean?
Serious expert thinks it's a real cartel. It was a moniker used in the media to describe corrupt military officers. You said it was a cartel. Experts we checked would say it's not a cartel. The US government have backed away from the claim that it's a cartel.
Okay.
Uh,
Breathe.
Me too. Everybody breathe. Chat. Let's breathe together. She said, breathe. Let's go.
The Cartel de los Soles, you're right in that it functions differently from a standard cartel. However, back up. The phrase Cartel de los Soles was used within Venezuela, within the Venezuelan military, who are actively and have been for a very long time involved in the drug trafficking. Now, it is actually written in documents that I've seen of, the United Left of Latin America in various meetings with the Tupac Amaros, ELN, FARC, and all of these united groups supported their
claim
cause.
that you made, and people who on your side have made, is that Maduro was running a cartel. He's a cartel leader. That's
yes. Well, he's the leader of a country, and the Soles is the sun insignia on the uniform.
But it's not a real cartel. I mean, it just doesn't exist as an organization.
I know from my own sources, which I did a lot of field work, and I knew some people who were involved in the military loading drugs onto their
planes. The problem you have, Vanessa, is that the Trump Department of Justice indicted Maduro, said he was the leader of a cartel, and then when he turned up in court the other day, they deleted all references to Cartel de los Soles. I think 30 out of 32 references removed from the indictment. They're no longer claiming he's the leader of a cartel. So you're still making claims that even the Trump DOJ has backed away from.
Well, are we going to get into the Trump DOJ now? Because that's a whole other show.
Well, they're indicting him right now. You support the Trump administration's actions against Maduro. I'm saying even Donald Trump has backed away from the claim that Nicolas Maduro runs a cartel.
No, I don't know whether he has backed away from the claim.
Well, they've deleted 30 out of 32 references to the Cartel de los Soles.
Means that there is a network of men with the sun insignias on their uniforms, that the drug trafficking is not tolerated by the military. It is done by the military at the express command of Nicolás Maduro, los narcosobrinos, Silvio Rodríguez, and they are all involved.
By the way,
including Diosdado Cabello, including many others.
Let's go to our panel, who are waiting patiently here tonight. Oscar Guardiola Rivera is an international law professor at Birkbeck College, University of London, author of the book, What If Latin America Ruled the World? Oscar, you have described what Trump did in Venezuela against Maduro as a form of imperialism. But surely you would concede, Oscar, that whatever the rights and wrongs of what the US did on January the 3rd, Maduro was a repressive leader who many people do believe stole the 2024 election. And as Vanessa pointed out, millions did flee him.
Yes, you can call him a boat thief, you can call Maduro corrupt, you can call him a drug trafficker. None of those labels are of material relevance in order to justify the military operation conducted by the United States in Venezuela. The international rules of the use of force are simple and very clear. There are only two exceptions to the prohibition on the use of force. One of them is authorization by the Security Council, and the other is self-defense. So again, you can call him, we might agree that he stole the election, but again, none of those things justify the military operation conducted by the US in Venezuela. So yes, I stand by my claim. This is not just imperialism in the old 1960s sense of, oh, let's visit untold violence upon the black, brown, and red peoples over there in the peripheries. By undermining the international legal order in its entirety and allowing for the concentration of the power to use force in the hands of the US executive, people like Dr. Neumann, who consider US Congress authorization of war unnecessary, her words on page 4 of her deposition before Congress in 2019, they have not only undermined the international legal order, but also allowed for the Constitution of the United States to be undermined.
Let me bring in Estefania Melendez, Juan Guaido's former diplomatic envoy to Bulgaria, part of the Venezuelan opposition at the time. You're now an associate fellow at the Center for the Study of Democracy. What's your response to what you're hearing tonight?
Well, first of all, I hear you to say that Venezuela is a sovereign country. So we need to understand what you mean about that, because this is not a sovereign country. Because
the assumption of international law.
Yeah, but for example, the sovereignty resides on the people, on the will of the people. So the people have chosen on 2024 election who had to be their president, and it was Edmundo González Urrutia, not Nicolás Maduro. So the Venezuelan people already decide, and he has been the one that has been violating the sovereignty of Venezuela, he mainly, and all his so-called government that is actually has a state capture in Venezuela. So when you say that he has been kidnapped, we're talking about a people that has kidnapped a whole country.
Can we not do two things at once? Can we not recognize what you're saying, that there's been oppression in Venezuela, there may have been a stolen election in 2024, as many people believe, but that doesn't give the US government the right to go around just grabbing people in the middle of the night?
But
yes,
the US
we can,
government,
indeed, we must.
Yeah, but the US government considered that Nicolás Maduro controlling the government and the state of Venezuela is a national security threat for the United States. Yeah. And when it's a matter of a national security threat, the international law comes to a second place. But this is U.S. law that you have to...
I don't think anyone think it was an action of self-defense.
But you know, you say that, for example, Cartel de los Soles doesn't exist.
The U.S. government did not say what they did was self-defense. They said it was a law enforcement operation. Alejandro Velasco is an associate professor of history at New York University, a specialist in modern Latin American history. You've been critical of both Maduro and the opposition. Do you see a democratic future for Venezuela coming out of Trump's actions? And do you think they were illegal yourself?
If there is a democratic future in Venezuela, it is not in the near-term horizon, and certainly not under the Trump administration, which has made extremely clear by various spokespeople in the administration that its primary interests are stability, economic recovery, and then perhaps eventually transition, which it is not in fact labeled. If we think about Trump's intervention on January 3rd as legitimate in the context of a fraudulent government, well, now he has completely backed and upheld the current government. And so on the one hand, if we, to the point of consistency, say, well, the United States was legitimate in intervening because Maduro had recognized Maduro as an illegitimate government, now presumably we would have to say, well, because it recognizes Delcy Rodriguez's government, then there's no reason not only to continue to intervene, but to push for anything else.
Well, Trump has reserved the right to intervene whenever he wants.
Correct.
Vanessa, do you want to respond?
Well, yeah, geez, several points. First of all, yes, it was identified as a preeminent threat to the United States, both in the national security strategy of 2025, explicitly, Venezuela and the drug trafficking, and to protect the Western Hemisphere, whether you like it or not.
But that wasn't the justification they used on January 3rd, is my point. In fact, Marco Rubio sat in front of Congress and said it was not a military action, it was not an invasion, it was a law enforcement operation.
Well,
it's an insane thing to say.
Well, I think they had a number of justifications, and that's the one they went with on that day. But certainly the fact they had been previously stated and concerned that the drug trafficking and the human the human flux into the United States, in the Trump administration's view, posed an imminent threat. But I think also that the transition to democracy is going to be slow, problematically slow, and I do think that the transition to democracy may not happen. We may end up with an authoritarian, prosperous state.
At what point does Vanessa Neumann then say it was wrong, what happened was a mistake?
Oh, I don't think it was a mistake.
No matter what happens. If Delcy Rodriguez is dictator for life, you'll still be fine.
No, I don't think...
And what is your metric to say this was a failure?
My metric to say this was a failure is if it's not yet a success, okay? The metric of failure is if the lights don't go on, the water doesn't flow, the streets don't get repaired, and there are no medicines in the hospitals.
One interesting point we haven't talked about, Alejandro, I do want to bring you back in on this. You know that there are plenty of studies that have found that US sanctions on Venezuela since 2017 have contributed towards a great deal of the suffering and the lack of medicines in Venezuela. One study found tens of thousands, if not 100,000 deaths. We can argue about the reliability of different studies, but clearly sanctions played a role in the state that Venezuela's in. Scott Bessent, the current Treasury Secretary of Donald Trump, recently bragged in front of Congress that US sanctions on Iran are what forced people onto the streets to protest against the Iranian government, which may be the next regime change war. Do you think the same thing is true in Venezuela?
Yes, with a particular caveat. again, to the point that many things can be true at the same time. It is absolutely, unquestionably the case that the sanctions regime that was put in place beginning in 2017, which was sectoral in nature, which prevented Venezuela from selling oil abroad, from controlling its resources, massively contributed to an already severe humanitarian crisis that was in play. But the interesting thing is that this is exactly the point of sanctions. The entire point of sanctions is to bring a nation's people to its knees in order to effect an uprising that will eventually lead to some kind of transition. The problem, of course, is that this is a form of collective punishment, which, to the point about international law, is recognized as a violation of human rights.
Which is why unilateral sanctions are illegal under international law.
Exactly. And so what we have to understand when it comes to sanctions is that by aggravating people's misery, by aggravating people's lives for the purpose of effecting a political end, in itself is tremendously violatory of people's human rights.
Estefania, Alejandro is saying collective punishment. But that's something the opposition you were part of supported, the collective punishment of your own people.
No, we didn't support the collective punishment of the people. What we support is to court the incomes for Nicolas Maduro. It's supposed that these sanctions have to bring a negotiation. But what they did, of course, they make a complete shadow economy. They allow more Russians to enter, Iranians more into the oil sector. And yes, I believe it didn't work as it should be, because sanctions are not an objective, are a tool to take a different outcome.
Do you think they failed or succeeded?
I believe it failed from some side, as you say. You can have contradictions on one point. But right now, you see, Delcy Rodriguez and everybody in this Chavista government, they opened themselves to make business with the United States. Nicolas Maduro was offered them to make business, just business as usual. Just that they didn't want to make business with Nicolas Maduro because he had no word. But now they want, and what I want to tell you with that is that all the narrative of Chavista, they just admitted that this ideology completely failed.
That's a very fair point. We will talk more about the elephant in the room, oil, when we come back for part 2 of Head to Head with Vanessa Neumann on Venezuela. Don't go away.
So guys, what is your thoughts so far on what we have heard? Tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think so far, man? Tell me, talk to me. What is life? Okay, so let's keep going. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, okay? At I am RealMade TMP and RealMade TMP on all social media platforms. Every Thursday, I'll be live. Every Friday or Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to start being live very often, okay, guys? Especially for video reaction lives. You know, so I'm gonna have different kind of videos, relationship, politics. I'm gonna be doing reaction to some of the best how do you call this speech, you know. So I'm gonna start looking for the best speeches and do reaction to them. Just bring life to all these videos that I know. For me, it's all about edutainment. That's what I'm doing. So, edutain, you know. So, let's go.
Welcome back to Head on Al Jazeera. My guest tonight is Vanessa Neumann, who was a Venezuelan opposition ambassador to the UK and is a staunch defender of Donald Trump's military action in Venezuela. Vanessa, you are a former oil lobbyist, and yet you said in December, just before the US intervention in your country, that you didn't buy that this was about the oil for Trump. But Trump has made it crystal clear for many years that it is about the oil for him. The day after the attack on Venezuela, he said, they took our oil away from us. referring to Venezuelan oil. J.D. Vance has said similar things. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Michael Waltz, has said similar things too. You were wrong, were you not, by saying this is not about oil when it clearly is?
You're all right. You've given me a lot to unpack there. First of all, I wasn't an oil lobbyist. What you're referring to is that in 1994, 1995, I worked in Washington, D.C. for Venezuela's oil. Right?
You were lobbying for Venezuelan oil.
I was lobbying
Understood.
for Venezuelan oil.
But you think
in the
Donald
United
Trump
States.
was not interested in Venezuela, even though he's made it very clear that was his #1 goal?
I think the larger play, I think the world is awash in oil. I don't think we need much more oil. Guyana next door is, you know, ExxonMobil's having a field day, and they have more, and they just had a huge discovery in Brazil. I mean, everybody's like trying to cap oil production because we don't even know what to do with all the oil. So that's not the play. The play is the gas, the Dragon gas fields between Venezuela and Trinidad. It's all a little complicated, but the Russians were involved, and so he's purging that.
The beauty of dealing with Donald Trump, and I say that with a
I
sigh,
think it's about the
is
gas,
that he's
not
pretty
the
open
oil.
about it. So why does he keep talking about the oil?
Because it plays to his drill baby drill campaign slogan. It works for him. It works for what Americans understand as energy security. Energy security is stated in the national security strategy of the United States that this is what we want.
Trump says he will run Venezuela.
In the Western Hemisphere.
Trump says he will run Venezuela, this is his words. And he's boasted that we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground, and that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela, and it also goes to the United States of America. On what grounds can a foreign leader just take the oil from a sovereign Venezuela? How can you be okay with that?
Well, because it was taken by the Chavistas. So let me back it up.
So it's okay for Trump to steal oil because Chavez apparently stole it?
No, Chavez just
what you
destroyed
just said.
it. No, it was stolen. The money was stolen by the Chavistas and funneled away into
It was also
European
spent
bank
on
accounts.
a lot of anti-poverty projects, as you know.
As you know. During the
During the Chavez years, for sure. But you're also deflecting it. I'm not asking about what happened in Venezuela. I'm saying, what right does the US government have to take your oil?
Nobody does.
But they are.
You shouldn't take the oil.
Let me read to you what Vice President J.D. Vance said. The way we control Venezuela is we control the purse strings and the energy resources, and we tell the regime you're allowed to sell oil only as long as you serve America's national interest. You sound like a colony of the United States now.
Well, I can't account.
Yes. Yes. Venezuela, a colony of the United States of America. How does that sound?
For the U.S. government playing to its campaign promises. I mean, all politics is local.
It's not actual government policy.
Well, let's look. What the Venezuelan regime?
You can't pick and choose. You said at the beginning of the show you supported Donald Trump's intervention. When I tell you what he says and what his vice president says, you say
I don't
nothing
agree
to do
with that
me.
statement. I don't agree with that statement.
But you can't pick and choose.
I don't agree with the
you
statement
jumped
of
on board the
taking
Trump train. This is where it's taken you.
Of taking Venezuelan oil. No, I haven't taken this train.
You started the show. We made it very clear that you supported what he did in Venezuela. This is part of it.
I supported the removal of Maduro. And I support the return of prosperity to Venezuela. I support the return of professionals who know what they're doing in running hydrocarbons, in running oil, and natural gas, which will be the next frontier in Venezuela. Now, we are seeing some prosperity
that the way
now
it's
in
being
Venezuela.
run now
is
colonial.
Well, I think we're in a transition. It is a bit colonial, yes. And I think that we are in a
And you still
transition and
support
we
that?
need to see further progress. Why does Rodriguez...
That admission, I'm glad you said that, but
Yeah,
it's astonishing.
I mean, I
You're
would
a
like...
prominent member of the anti-Maduro people. You're saying that what America is doing is a little bit colonial.
Well, it's certainly the expression of it and the way it's being carried out. Now, let me tell you why Delcy Rodriguez is going along with it as a deal maker. When the oil was under sanctioned, and this I know from my time here in London, I dealt with people who were here in London and had offices in Dubai and were involved in the selling of sanctioned oil. It got a huge discount. They would sell it for like 30% of market price. And then a lot of it had been promised to China. So they couldn't pay the bills. It's like you don't have the revenue to pay the bills. Now, by selling it through the United States, now this is the win-win deal that Trump has made with Delcy. They say, well, if we can sell it at full market price, and even if you only get 50%, you're still better off than you were before. This is not a model for the long term.
No.
And is not something I would like to
mentioned-
see in the long term.
You mentioned being in London.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the corruption and the looting of oil by Maduro. Back in 2020, you personally pushed for the seizure of Venezuela's foreign assets on behalf
Yes.
of Juan Guaido, your former boss, then the Venezuelan opposition leader, and his shadow government. Your opposition movement, your shadow government, as you know, you mentioned you resigned later, was widely and repeatedly criticized for mismanagement, corruption, embezzlement, fraud, and an utter lack of transparency. The
Right.
Venezuelan opposition can't claim the moral high ground when it comes to financial corruption, can it?
Estefania and I were sort of joking about this before the show. I'm like, if we never saw any corruption. I was stuck paying my own, my own bills and of my own home, of my own rent. I did not have, it was.
I mean,
if money was
the
stolen,
opposition burned through $350 million, so someone saw that money.
Not in my mission. Somebody must have seen it, I suppose. If they did, I don't know.
But you accept that it was not a transparent
I
administration.
accept that
it was criticized for where the money was
I accept that it was
going.
not transparent, and I accept that many of us who worked hard on the ground to try and advance democracy was.
But it damaged your cause.
We were not. I did not have, and neither did Estefania, have a seat at the table of how that money was spent or dispersed. But funnily enough, it was overseen by the U.S. government. What the U.S. government is doing now to Delcy Rodriguez and saying, well, I think Marco Rubio said they'll get quarterly statements and a quarterly budget out of Venezuela and then see if they release the money, is pretty much what they did to us.
But given what happened since, do you regret fighting so hard to get those assets? Because
No.
hold on.
No, wait.
You can't say no because your own members of the Opposition National Assembly and the Supreme Court in exile criticized Guaido, your boss at the time, for spending hundreds of millions of dollars without accounting for where that money was going. And in 2021, an investigation by the Washington Post found that senior Guaido officials were demanding large sums of money during the negotiations over the recovery of those assets. They were asking for bribes.
Yes, I've heard that.
You were
And
there. You were
and
part
I
of the
found it
you were-
disgusting.
but you were in the opposition at the time when this happened.
I wasn't asking for bribes.
I didn't say you were. I said you were in the opposition when this was happening.
Yes.
So that affects your credibility as an opposition, does it not?
No.
We will replace the corrupt Maduro with our own corruption. Is that the
Well,
message?
I resigned. Let's go back to that. And that's one of the reasons.
Because
I
you
did not
accept
agree.
that the Venezuelan opposition was corrupt.
I was concerned, yes.
No, but it's been several years. Can you accept today it
Yes.
was corrupt?
Yes, it was.
Is it still corrupt?
I don't know, because I'm not really that involved anymore, but
Is
I
Maria
presume
Corina
it is.
Machado corrupt in your view?
Not to my knowledge. I have never seen any evidence of her, and which is why she still has so much support of the Venezuelan people. What I will say, I didn't want, listen, and by the way, when you refer to my advocating for the seizure of assets, I think what you're referring to is the fight for the gold in the Bank of England, which, by the way, delights me, and I consider one of my greatest life achievements, other than being a mother, is that. You know why? That gold will sit there until we have a legitimately recognized government. And I hashtagged it, defund your dictator. That's exactly what I have held since the late 90s, that if you're a dictator, you don't get to put the people's gold on an airplane and send it to Iran, which is what he did, until we called the Bank of England and
Vanessa,
said,
is you were saying
"You
defund the
haven't given us any-"
dictator while you're admitting that the opposition was funding itself.
Which was problematic.
It's more
They
than
didn't
problematic.
fund-
It's hypocritical, it's criminal, it's corrupt, it's
It
much
is.
worse than problematic. Okay, let's go to our panel here, who are waiting patiently here to come back into
Another shock moment.
the show. I want to go to Alejandro Velasco first, Associate Professor of History at New York University, specializing in modern Latin America. How do you assess the credibility of the opposition when it comes to corruption, given these accusations of mismanagement, illegitimacy, corrupt control of foreign assets?
The opposition has placed itself in a bind for many years, and some of it we've been hearing tonight, where there are principles at stake, the principles of democracy, accountability, alternation in power, but many instances of the opposition coming close to or being in some positions of power have then come at the expense of those very principles. And so part of the challenge that the opposition has faced long-standing, but now, especially now, is credibility, exactly the way that you put it. How is it going to be able to proclaim any sense of values when it itself has not held itself to those values over time?
Estefania Melendez is Juan Guaido's former diplomatic envoy to Bulgaria. She's now an associate fellow at the Center for Study of Democracy. Estefania, earlier we heard from Vanessa about Maduro's links to drug trafficking and cartels. Juan Guaido, your boss back in 2019, when he was the opposition leader, he was accused of associating with Colombian paramilitaries who were involved in drug trafficking and extortion and killings. There were photos released with Guaido posing with these paramilitaries. Again, the Venezuelan opposition doesn't have a great track record on some of these issues that it criticizes Maduro for.
Well, you know, there was a lot of disinformation about that. You can show a picture, this Guaido took pictures with a lot of people. It was, I suppose, I really don't remember.
It was the border crossing.
It wasn't like
yeah, when it was about
an illegal border crossing that the paramilitaries helped him use.
Well, the paramilitaries control the border crossing.
It wasn't like
You
he was
can't control
wandering
legally.
through a shopping mall and took a selfie
Have
with
you
a
ever
fan.
been? Have you ever been to Cucuta?
I don't associate
Oh,
with
well, I'll
drug
take you next
traffickers.
time.
Unlike your former boss, I don't take pictures with drug traffickers at illegal border crossing. Isn't that a problem, though, that there is this sense that the opposition is hypocritical? You say corruption in Venezuela, then you're accused of corruption. You say drug trafficking, then you're seen with drug traffickers.
We were not.
No, this is...
Well, you were in the opposition when this happened, so that's why I bring it up.
I believe this is very much of disinformation over here, you
What does
know,
that mean,
because
is it true
about
or
this corruption that you say that is accused of the interim government, they didn't actually manage this money was in the United States. It was approved by a special license by the OFAC because all this budget. How all this money was spent is published. It's published. It's public. This is all public. Everything. It was outed. It was outed by the United States. It was outed. They show an investigation. They have to show the proof.
Let me bring in Oscar Guardiola Rivera, who's a law professor at Birkbeck College here in London, author of the book What If Latin America Ruled the World. Oscar, last year Transparency International found that Venezuela was the third most corrupt country in the world on Nicolas Maduro's watch. You said in part one, you acknowledged the corruption in Venezuela, but you've also been sympathetic to the left, to Chavismo in Venezuela over the years. Vanessa made an important point, which is the behavior of Delcy Rodriguez is a reminder that a lot of these people who are running the show didn't really believe in anything. They betrayed the left, did they not?
Well, that is precisely the point that has been made by many in the opposition within Venezuela. And this is a reminder that neither Estefania nor Dr. Neumann speak for the whole of the opposition in Venezuela. In fact, there are members of the opposition, Enrique Capriles, for instance, who considers them too hardline, too extreme, which is why one of the main stumbling blocks on the road towards transition is precisely the fact that the opposition is so divided. And the fact that they make these very inconsistent claims. I mean, it really pains me to see Dr. Neumann, waking up to the fact that she has pledged allegiance to the American flag, but the American flag has not pledged allegiance to her, to misquote James Baldwin. It has to be very difficult to acknowledge that. But it is not difficult for someone like myself to acknowledge that there were gains for the people during the initial phases of the Chavista revolution, but as other forces voices of the opposition coming from the left within Venezuela, such as Edgardo Lander, for instance, would put it, in the current phase, the revolution has been betrayed.
Do you want to respond to Oscar's point?
Yes, I do. I do, actually. And I want to say that Estefania and I and various others, many others, joined the fight when we had the opportunity because we really thought that there would be change. We wanted to see real change, not just remove Maduro and have other people come in and continue with practices that were either corrupt or misogynistic or all sorts of other or not
As we
transparent.
said at the start of the show, that hasn't happened, the real change. It's still the Maduro regime.
No, that's right. It is still the Maduro regime, and I hope that one day we will get to a place. Now, that is one of the benefits that we might see if the transition through prosperity brings people back. You will get a lot of people with talent and integrity who are not political to come back into Venezuela, and I hope that will happen. But when you work, every country defends its own interests, and when you fight for something diplomatically, as we have done, you have to understand that when you're trying to get something from someone else, another country, to support you or support your cause, they're not going to do it because they like you. They're not going to do it because they think you're right. They're going to do it because it's in their interest.
Okay.
And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Let's go to our
But it
audience,
is reality.
who have been waiting patiently here in London's Conway Hall. Do raise your hands if you have a question, comment. We will go to members of the audience. Let's go to the gentleman here in the front row.
If you were part of a future democratic Venezuelan government, would you feel you had a free hand to engage with America's geopolitical rivals, for example, China? Thanks.
First of all, I have no plans to join a democratic transition. It would have to be way down the line before I consider going back. I can't go back. Haven't been allowed back in 9 years. I think that you should always be allowed to do business or trade with any country that you can, provided they do not invade your country. The way Chavez wrote into the Constitution that the military and intelligence services were to be led by the Cubans, which is a shocking thing for any country to admit to. So I think that in the future, if you wanted to trade with China...
Will America let you do that, I think is the question.
Will America let us do that?
The Don Roe Doctrine.
Well, Don Roe Doctrine has only a few years left to run. It's a timeline question.
Let's go to the lady here in the third row.
What I want to ask is that you say that you speak for the people of Venezuela and that the people of Venezuela are rejoicing at the removal of Maduro and Flores. But the people in Venezuela that we relate to, who are really grassroots women, who are Chavistas, they've been on the marches, which the international media never refers to. And in fact, the very first march was a women's march. And there were hundreds of thousands of people on the street who are trying to save the gain of the revolution and who don't believe that the opposition is going to do anything for them. In fact, they're terrified. And when I see your answers tonight, I'm terrified because you'll say absolutely anything.
I'm sorry,
and
that
you contradict yourself, as your interviewer has said many times. So just my question is, those women, don't they have the right to be heard? They don't have an international
100%.
platform like you do, but they're not heard, they're not interviewed.
Okay.
Oh, well, I have no problem with them being interviewed or they're being heard. And in fact, you know, we and others, Stephanie and I and others, fought hard for the greater inclusion of women. One of the issues we found with the opposition was there was a lot of endemic misogyny, hence the isolation of Maria Corina Machado, amongst for other reasons. There was also ideological reasons.
But she's making a broader point that there are people in Venezuela who don't support you, who do support the government, are very worried about the opposition. You think she's imagining it?
No, I'm not saying she's imagining it. I 100% agree with that. I know that what she's saying is true. They should be worried about the opposition, and I welcome the fact that there are people who still think that Chavismo is dead. Chavismo is here to stay as a political movement or an ideology. That's fine. What you can't do is write into the Constitution that foreign agents can torture your own people with impunity, which is what happened. And we have many friends.
You would have a stronger leg to stand on if you hadn't spent tonight defending a foreign government's right to bomb your country.
They didn't bomb it, they plucked them out.
They dropped bombs on Caracas. What are you talking about?
Well, command and control. Command and control, sabotage.
Let's go to the gentleman there, who I think...
Mehdi is like, what are you talking? They bomb your country. What are you talking about? And she's like, another shocking moment.
I think he's an independent member of parliament.
Thank you so much. As a philosopher, I'd just like you to look at this as a historian as well. It's very similar to what happened in Iraq. You know, this will be all over in a few years. It cost billions. No, it cost 2.1 trillion pounds. It cost thousands dead from the Americans, and it cost millions life of the Iraqis. How will you philosophize this when this happens in Venezuela?
I am so sick of the comparison of Venezuela to Iraq. I just have no idea where this comes from. Venezuela is not Iraq. Is not, never has been, never will be. And one of the things that Trump has talked about, rightly or wrongly, whatever, and I don't agree with a lot of his statements on Venezuela as a Venezuelan, but as I said, it's one nation, one people, where all political voices need to be heard and be represented without being tortured to death to the sound of a Cuban accent, which we all have many, many friends that has happened to, all of us. And what we should do is that the women marching should have their vote exercised in a legitimate election. And they should benefit, which, by the way, ironically, they sort of are. Now, because of the money that has come back from some of the oil, the dollars have re-entered the system, and they are getting private loans within Venezuela this week.
Let's go back to let's go to gentleman in the front here. Yep.
How do you think Delcy Rodriguez's regime will respond to popular grassroots pro-democracy movements? And is there any reason why the US would support these movements at all? Thank you.
Poorly. How would she respond to them? Poorly, and I think that's one of the things that we need to keep track of. You know, now the irony is, with all of this announcement, we're releasing hundreds of political prisoners. I'm like, what? Well, you see how many political prisoners there were. They're still capturing people, the journalists from Deutsche Welle. A couple of people were thrown back in prison. So the end of repression. Delcy Rodriguez is not a Democrat. And Trump has not yet indicated that he will support these grassroots movements. The Venezuelan people, that grassroots movements, I'm hoping that it's not clear. Venezuela might end up a prosperous authoritarian nation, which is not my ideal scenario, but it's the more likely scenario, unfortunately.
There are no elections on the horizon. There's
well,
no democracy
I hope there
on the
will be
horizon.
one day.
You can't keep saying, I hope there will be, but you need to recognize the reality, which
That's
is...
what I just said. It might end up in
You got very
prosperous
upset when our friend, the member of parliament, brought up Iraq.
No, I didn't get upset.
But you did.
Oh, I get upset about the
Iraq analogy.
Because I feel like it's a knee-jerk.
But let me. But here's another thing.
Have a better thought.
Well, Vanessa, when I hear you speaking, I'm old enough, unfortunately, to remember Iraq. I remember people who supported that war, and then afterwards they said, well, I wouldn't have done it the way Bush did it. I didn't support the Bush way of Iraq. And that's how it sounds tonight from you. You're saying, I support the intervention, but I don't support Trump doing this. I don't support Trump doing that. You don't get to pick and choose. Trump is Trump. He's doing it this way, and you've joined his bandwagon.
I don't work for Trump.
But you supported him. You came out on January 3rd and said this is the restoration of democracy. That's what you said on January 3rd.
Well, I hoped it would be. Turns out it may not be.
You've said plenty of times tonight, I'm not in the opposition, I'm not running for office, I'm not a politician. Yeah. Back in 2019, you said you would like to, quote, throw your hat into the ring for Venezuela's presidential election. No, you didn't say it to me. I did interview you in 2019, but no, you didn't say it to me. I just wonder, is that still on the table? And if so, would you have to ask Donald Trump for permission first?
Gosh, I hope not. I'm not sure I'm his type of girl. I think I'm too strongly opinionated, to be honest. Although maybe he'd like my curls. I think, everything has moved on. I've moved on. Venezuela's moved on. Would I like to go back and bring my daughter and show her the home the homes, my mother's and father's, my grandfather's home where I grew up, and possibly go back? Maybe. I do not currently have political ambitions.
There's plenty of time because elections aren't on the horizon anytime soon.
Well, exactly. And then I'll be too old.
Vanessa Neumann, thank you for your time. Thank you to our audience in Conway Hall. Thank you to our panel here. Head to Head on Al Jazeera. We'll be back soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
That was amazing, guys. I love it. Okay, guys. I really love it. I think it was so amazing. And yeah, I think it was so amazing. Hey, what's up, my people? I really love it. And next week, guys, we're coming with another one. But this time, I'll make sure I have everything ready. Okay? So, I'll make sure we got everything ready to go. So, but all in all, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let me see if there's any questions. Yeah. So let's hope that, you know, with time people will catch up. Chat, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Okay, chat. Let me see how it look like on Twitch. If we have any comments on Twitch. But this is our Twitch, so make sure you go and follow our Twitch. Okay, follow our Twitch and go straight to our YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. On Instagram, IG, like, share, subscribe. On TikTok, same thing, at RealManTMP, RealManTMP. Okay, until next time, RealManTMP Empire. Peace.